My dad owned a tiny restaurant growing up. 10 tables, one small kitchen, and one rule he repeated to everyone who worked there. If you want to stay in this kitchen, earn it. It didn't matter if you were family. You started at the bottom, and if you couldn't handle the pressure, you didn't belong there. When I was about 12, I started helping after school. My first job, dishes, stacks of greasy plates, pots that never seemed to end. But I didn't complain, because every once in a while, my dad would let me step into the kitchen and watch him cook. And during the dinner rush, that kitchen was chaos. Orders everywhere, pans sizzling, people shouting. But somehow my dad controlled all of it. One night I asked him how. He just shrugged and said, "You learn, or you get left behind." So I learned it. Slowly he trusted me with more. First the grill, then the fryer, eventually the whole dinner rush. By the time I was 18, I could run the kitchen when things got crazy. Customers even started asking if I was cooking that night. And when they did, my dad would just smile. But not everyone thought the restaurant was worth it. My older brother hated the place. Whenever he came in, he'd shake his head. "You're really gonna stay here forever?" He asked me once. "Yeah," I said. "Someone has to keep it running." He laughed. "There's a bigger world out there than this." Then he left for college, business school. While he was gone, I stayed. Year after year one worked in that kitchen, learning every recipe, every supplier, every tiny detail that kept the place alive. Sometimes my dad would even say something that made all the hard work worth it. Someday, he told me, "This place will be yours." So I believed him. 10 years later my dad called both of us to the restaurant after closing. We sat down in one of the booths. "I'm getting older," he said, "and it's time I decide what happens to the restaurant." My heart was pounding. Then he turned to my brother. "I'm giving the business to you." I couldn't believe it. My brother barely even worked there. But my dad said he understood business better. So the next morning, I quit. And when I left, 3 of the best cooks walked out with me. We opened a tiny food spot across town. Smaller kitchen, fewer tables. But the food was incredible. Word spread fast. Lines started forming outside. Within a few years we opened more locations. Meanwhile my brother tried running the original restaurant like a business textbook. Cutting staff, changing recipes. And slowly, customers stopped coming. 5 years later my dad came into one of my restaurants. He looked around at the packed tables. Then he looked at me and said quietly, "I guess the kitchen was the real business after all."